Hello everyone, I hope you're all doing well. I want to give a special thanks to all you who've subscribed to my channel. If you haven't yet subscribed, I encourage you to do so. It's completely free and you won't miss any upcoming episodes. Also, if you find this video helpful, please give me a like below and leave any comments or questions you may have. This week I'm going to take a slightly different approach compared to the previous videos I've been making. We're going to talk about different ways that you can sketch on your canvas. Part of the reason we're doing this is because I've been working on this painting here and it's been taking a little while, so I'm probably not going to get the demonstration for this painting posted until sometime next week. There's a number of different ways that you can sketch on canvas. There's pencils, there's charcoal, there's compressed white charcoal, which is one of my favorites. And also I've read about markers. I've never used markers myself, and even watercolor pencils, transfer paper, and even oil pastels and oil sticks, which I'll be demonstrating a little bit in this video. Depending on what your medium is, might depend on what you use to sketch on canvas. When I talk about sketching on canvas, I'm talking about sketching prior to painting. If you just want to sketch with a pencil, you're probably going to use paper. But a lot of people, myself included, will choose to sketch their composition on the canvas before they proceed with paint. And like I said, you're going to want to be careful with your medium, because if you're using acrylics, if you're an acrylic painter, you're not going to want to put down an oil-based sketch on there. You're going to not want to use oil pastels, of course. You're also probably not going to want to use even some Sharpie markers. Some of them are oil-based, and that can definitely cause a problem down the road. One of the primary means of sketching on your canvas is pencil. And pencil is great, especially if you want to do more detailed drawings. Pencil has a thin line, and that thin line allows you to put in a lot of details, a lot of things that you're not going to be able to get with something like charcoal or more broad medium like that. Pencil's great if you want to get your anatomy or your perspective very precise and very correct before you proceed into oil paint. The drawback with pencil, though, is that the thing that makes it great can also make it a problem. If you want to loosen up with your painting, drawing in everything with pencil can really end up constraining you and tightening you up without you even realizing it. You can almost go into a paint by number effect. And that's because when you draw in every single little shape, you become more concerned about filling in those shapes than you do about being expressive with your paint application, and also giving yourself some leeway for being able to make changes as you paint. If you are going to use pencil on your canvas, I'd recommend an H grade pencil, or something between H, maybe even up to 3H or 4H. This is if you want to prevent smudging and smearing of the pencil on your canvas. B pencils are a softer grade, and they'll probably flow over the canvas a little easier, but they're also going to have more of a tendency to smear and to smudge and to get into the upper layers of your paint. If you paint with thicker paint, that's probably not going to be too much of a problem, because those thick layers will kind of overcome any intermixing that you might have with the pencil into your paint. However, if you tend to paint in a transparent or translucent manner with thin layers of paint, then the pencil is going to create more of a problem for you. I've also read, especially with acrylic painters, acrylic tends to be a thinner medium, that you're going to have more of a problem with the pencil line showing through the acrylic paint as you proceed with those thin layers. One solution that I've read about for acrylic painters who want to be able to draw somewhat precise lines on their canvas before they paint is to use watercolor pencil. Now, I'm not really an acrylic painter, so I've not tried this, but the things that I've read online say that that could be a nice approach, because the watercolor pencil will basically dissolve right into the subsequent layers of acrylic paint as you proceed, and so they essentially disappear. Like I said, I haven't tried this yet, but this might be an approach you want to take. I would suggest, if you do want to try this, if you're an acrylic painter, is just go out, see if you can buy a couple individual watercolor pencils in a certain color that kind of matches with the color scheme you tend to paint in, and just give them a try and see how it works. When it comes to erasing pencil lines from your canvas, I use a kneaded eraser. There are other erasers that you can use, but kneaded erasers tend to be very gentle, and if you use a very abrasive eraser, you might get those pencil lines completely off, but you might also end up taking some of the primer off the canvas, which is something you're not going to want to do. If you do use a kneaded eraser, or pretty much any kind of eraser, I would recommend dedicating one specifically to using on canvas, especially if you're doing that on oil prime canvas like I do, because you don't want to get some of that oil into your eraser and then use it on paper later on a really nice drawing that you're working on. You could end up transferring some of that oil into your drawing and really mess it up. The method that I currently use for sketching on canvas is charcoal or compressed white charcoal. I'll use compressed white charcoal on a tone canvas. I'll tone the canvas with a quick dry oil medium such as Gambling's Fast Matte, and once that is bone dry, I will go over that with white charcoal. I have transferring methods that I will use if I want to transfer a somewhat precise drawing onto the canvas. Nice thing about the white charcoal, as will be demonstrated in a little bit in this video, is that it doesn't seem to pollute the paint nearly as much. Very recently I've been experimenting with using vine charcoal on just non-primed, I should say non-toned oil primed linen. So just charcoal right on the white. And the reason I've been doing this is because the vine charcoal, because you can't get real precise with it, you can't even get as precise as you can with white charcoal. Because of that, and because it tends to smudge away pretty quickly, I'm forced to rely more on painting with my brush than I am on filling in shapes that are already pre-drawn. And basically the vine charcoal, I just try to get general shapes and general proportions in, and you know, all the details and everything like that, that's kind of left out until I get to them with the actual oil paint. And I like that because it allows me to be a little more free, a little more expressive with the paint, plus it forces me to paint a little thicker with a little more boldness than I would if I were drawing in very precise detailed shapes, even with white charcoal, and then just filling in those shapes with oil paint. In the video that I'll be posting for this painting, I'm actually going to demonstrate how I transferred the drawing that I had done, how I enlarged it, how I transferred it onto the canvas, basically using my own, created my own transfer paper, if you will, right on the printout of the drawing that I had done. So make sure that you don't miss that video when it's published, hopefully within a week or so. Okay, we're going to demonstrate the effects of charcoal on a regular universal prime canvas. This is vine charcoal. The vine charcoal is very soft. You can see it has quite a bit of covering power. And that's because even though this charcoal is a little bit rough, the softness allows it to get into the little grooves in the canvas more. This is a Prang compressed charcoal pencil. And this one, because compressed charcoal tends to be harder, you're not going to be able to cover up all those little white areas more. This is a woodless charcoal pencil. This is also compressed charcoal. Pretty much getting the exact same effect. Any compressed charcoal is not going to give you quite as smooth of lines or covering power on canvas as you're going to get with a vine charcoal. However, when I smear the vine charcoal versus the compressed charcoal, you can see the vine charcoal, it smudges a lot easier. That might be something you like. It may be something you don't like, you know, hard to say. Now I'm going to go over each one of these with some pure mineral spirits just to see the effect of that. You can see the vine charcoal pretty much rubs away. The compressed charcoal tends to spread out a little bit more, has a little more staying power than the vine charcoal does. Now I'm going over the swatch of vine charcoal with some cadmium lemon straight out of the tube. This is not thin paint. And you can see, you know, how it spreads onto the brush and it pollutes the paint to a certain degree. I'm going to go over the, going to wipe my brush off a little better and go over the compressed charcoal with the same cadmium lemon, and you can see there is some pollution there in the paint. Had I thinned this paint with mineral spirits or something else, I suspect I would have had even more pollution. Going over the woodless charcoal pencil, once again it's pretty much the same effect as you're going to get with the praying pencil. You're going to have some pollution. And now we're doing that with some burnt sienna, once again straight out of the tube. And you don't notice the pollution effect quite as much just because burnt sienna is fairly dark in value. Now, I do concede that most of you are probably not going to use charcoal in this manner if you're pre-drawing your composition onto canvas before you paint, but I did want to use a bit of hyperbole so we can really see how the charcoal behaves. This is ultramarine blue, once again straight out of the tube. Notice on the vine charcoal how the brush and the paint almost repelled some of the vine charcoal on the canvas. That can be a nice effect if you want to use vine charcoal and just kind of almost have it disappear as you paint. But once again, you have to be mindful of that pollution of the lighter, purer colors that you're going to get. And this is just taking burnt sienna mixed with titanium white and just brushing that over just a line of charcoal. And like I said, this is probably how most of you are going to use charcoal. You can see that, you know, it doesn't cause too much of a problem. Now I'm going to demonstrate using compressed white charcoal on a toned canvas. This is actually a toned linen, oil prime linen canvas. I like to paint, this is the canvas I typically paint on because I'm an oil painter. I use oil prime linen, and it's a medium texture. And this was primed with Gamblin's Fast Matte Burnt Sienna. You can see now I'm using a charcoal stick instead of a charcoal pencil. A charcoal stick and charcoal pencil, they're both compressed charcoal. It's pretty much the same thing. I can just push down a little harder with the charcoal stick and get a more brilliant white. Going in now with some mineral spirits, you can see that the mineral spirits doesn't have quite as much of an effect on the white charcoal. The white charcoal tends to have a little more staying power than you would get with some of the black charcoal, at least with my experience with it. Now I'm going over the white charcoal with some cadmium lemon, and you can see that you can notice hardly any pollution whatsoever. And that's what's really nice. Even when I scrub it a little bit, there's hardly any pollution at all. And I suspect that, you know, there is some pollution going on, but because of the light value of the cadmium lemon, and being that the white charcoal, of course, is a very light value, you're probably not noticing it. Going in now with some burnt sienna, and you know, I notice a little bit of pollution, but nothing like you would have with the black charcoal. Therefore, if you're going to do a painting and you're going to use a lot of pure colors, more high key tones, you might want to try this method of using white charcoal on toned canvas. It can be toned acrylic prime canvas. You just want to make sure that the tone that you lay down is bone dry before you go over it with the white charcoal. Otherwise, you're going to have some problems. You can see, though, even with the ultramarine blue, I am getting some pollution into there. It is lightening the value a little bit, but it's not a big deal unless you want that ultramarine blue to be insanely dark. Now I'm going over this and I'm using an oil stick. This is, I'm probably going to butcher the pronunciation of this, but this is a, I think it's Sennelli or Sennelli. It's spelled S-E-N-N-E-L-I-E. That's what I use on the left. On the right here, I'm putting in just some black, a black oil pastel. Now I'm going over both of them with pure mineral spirits, and you can see that pure mineral spirits really drags this out. It gives it a lot of spread. So you can really take either the oil pastel or the oil stick and lay some down and really spread this out, for kind of a transparent type painting. Now I'm going over this with pure cadmium lemon straight out of the tube, and you can see that there's a lot of pollution here. This is once again on the universal prime canvas. We're no longer on the oil prime canvas, but that cadmium lemon is really getting polluted by the oil stick and by the oil pastel underneath. It was even more pronounced with the oil stick. Going over now some burnt sienna. The pollution is there, but you don't notice it quite as much just because it's a darker value. So, if you want to start, if you're going to start with mostly dark tones, and the oil stick probably isn't going to be too much of an issue, but I would avoid applying it in any heavy manner in the light areas of your painting. Now I'm going to use this oil stick, and I'm just going to demonstrate a really quick portrait. This is not time-lapse, this is actual time. This is a portrait of a Native American model, and I'm just going to block in basically the overall light and shadow areas. I'm going to oversimplify it, but I just want to give you an idea of how you can use this oil stick as a drawing tool prior to a painting. Or if you wanted to, you could even use this oil stick alone and just do a monochromatic painting and thin it with mineral spirits to get more variety of tone. In hindsight, I probably went a little too heavy in the dark areas with this oil stick. I probably would have went thinner had I done this again and just used the mineral spirits to spread that dark around. I think it would have covered it quite well. Once again, this is just on universal prime canvas. It's not on oil prime canvas, but this will give you an idea of how you can use this type of oil stick or an oil pastel to start a painting, or even to do a complete painting on canvas. I want to give a special thanks to all of you who have subscribed to my YouTube channel. Thank you very much. It's very encouraging to see that. It really helps me to continue to make these videos. If you haven't yet subscribed yet, I encourage you to do so. It is completely free. All you need is a Gmail account, which is also completely free. And it helps me to continue making these videos. It also makes sure that you don't miss any of the upcoming episodes. Make sure you hit that like button if you did find this video helpful. YouTube likes to see that. It helps keep me on the channel. And leave your comments and questions below. If you have ideas, if you have tried some of this stuff and you've had different experiences, let us know. And if you have other ideas for sketching on canvas, other experiences you've had, feel free to leave those below. A lot of times, we learn more from each other than just from one person talking about it. We all have different experiences, and I certainly can't try every single medium, canvas, technique that's out there. I'm just sharing, what I've learned and what's worked for me. So, please share your experiences below and your ideas, and you never know who you're going to help out, who might be watching this video, and and might benefit from your ideas also.